Hello everyone, I thought I would jump on today and share some really pertinent information that I think everyone's going to get a lot of value out of. Because as an exercise physiologist, we specialize in exercise, but before we specialize in exercise, we learn a lot about physiology. Okay, and so physiology, I suppose you can sort of broadly think about it, is the way that the bodies work. We think about the body as a whole, of many systems coming together. And one of these systems is the immune system, which has been a hot topic this week. So what I thought I'd do is run through some important things about the immune system, specifically relating to your lifestyle, and what you can take away during this time. There's a lot of health professionals out there spruiking their services, saying these things are good for your immune system, and largely a lot of them are. But there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I wanted to share some of that with you so that you can be completely informed and conduct yourself with the best information that you possibly can during this time. So the immune system is a system, and it is comprised of many different cells, different glands and tissue and fluids that work together harmoniously to create a defensive response against potential disease and foreign bodies. And it's also important to know that the system is extremely adaptable, and it will change on a minute-by-minute basis based on all of the things in our lifestyle that it needs to be geared to and tuned to keep us alive and healthy. Okay, one of these things that is very closely in tune with is stress. And during this period of time, whilst I try to manage my stress, everybody will have a level of stress that they need to deal with during this time. And we're going to speak about what stress does to the immune system and some important things that you can take away to keep yourself protected. So here is a book that I have recommended to many people over the years, and it is called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Okay. Unfortunately, the second edition to the book hasn't come out yet. But I'm sure after this is over, you can expect why some people don't get coronavirus, or why some humans don't get coronavirus. And when we think about stress, and maybe if we wanted to think about health generally, a big part of our health is actually owed to a level of stress that we can put ourselves under, because it is stress which will, like I said, tune our immune system, but it also strengthens our immune system. So what type of stress is good for us and what type of stress is bad for us? So largely, if we have intense, short duration stress, it has immune promoting properties, and it will actually boost our immune function, okay? If you put yourself under a level of stress, your body will be gearing up to protect itself, okay? And this is done through the release of certain cells and the increase in something called pro-inflammatory cytokines. Cytokines, or inflammation generally, is what we do to heal ourselves, and it isn't always such a bad thing. The stress which is not helpful is stress which is chronic and low level, okay? So that could be a situation where you are under intense, I suppose, undernourishment, you have not been able to sleep very well, and other lifestyle factors, when over the course of weeks, months and years, it will have the opposite effect, where we will become chronically inflamed and we actually experience a decrease in our immunity. And in that situation, we become vulnerable to other disease. So knowing just this one basic fact is that chronic duration stress is bad for us, bad for our immunity. Short duration stress is good. You can start to make some lifestyle decisions as to how you can regulate yourself during this time to promote good immune health and prevent the potential for an exaggerated immune response if you were to get infected. So things that you can do, exposure to the sun and sunlight, it's actually a stress on my body. If I stayed here too long, my skin would get hot and inflamed, and that's my skin healing itself. But short duration exposure to sunlight is extremely good for us. You might actually find that periods of fasting has the same effect on us, as well as exercise. And we're going to speak about exercise in a minute and some recommendations around exercise that you shouldn't do at this time at all. Other ways that we can promote our immune system is obviously through good nutrition. And basically you want to be eating fresh fruit and vegetables, and you might choose to err towards more vitamin C during this time. As we know, it is a good vitamin to have if you're sick with a cold. It reduces the severity of symptoms, and in fact in China they've been giving vitamin C infusions to help those people who've been infected. So that's something important to know. So I mentioned chronic stress is a bad thing, okay? So with chronic stress, it's important to break the cycle, and we break the cycle of chronic stress through recovery. How do you recover? That is by chilling out, relaxing. That can be through meditation. That can be being more disciplined with sleep. There are many things that are great for recovery, and this is a time more than ever where we need to be managing our stress levels so they don't become chronic. What type of stress is bad, or sorry, how do we manage our exercise during this period of time? People have been bombarded with messages to do more and more exercise is good for us, and like I said, that is largely correct. But if you're very unaccustomed to exercise and you go and push yourself excessively, that's not healthy. You're not quite ready for that. In fact, it's very well documented that after a marathon or a triathlon, when athletes have pushed themselves to their absolute limit, they're extremely susceptible to viral infection the following week. That's because that stress has become far too much for them and they leave themselves exposed. So you need to be careful about managing how hard you push yourself. And I think that's a personal thing. You know your limits. And I think if you took a smart approach, you'd be doing 30 minutes, maybe up to 45 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise. And that will be sufficient to achieve the stress response and the immune boosting properties of the exercise. The other thing to think about is the time of day. Our immune system, like I said, is very variable, and the time of day matters for exercise as well. You might not realize, but the lowest level of immunity you have is first thing in the morning. So if you're someone who is really trying to look after yourself during this time, and that's really good, don't be the person who wakes up the crack at dawn and goes to the gym. You will have the lowest point of immunity during that time, and going into an environment close to other people, not the best idea. So do be smart about these things.